thanks very much to everybody that took part in the BBOC this year. The whole lead up to the event's been just awesome. Speaking to people online and hearing what everybody's got to say about the beers after the beers have all been sent out. And Ian doing all that bit whilst you're struggling, mate. Really appreciate that. It's been an absolute pleasure to receive all the beers through the post. So, going to do a few beer reviews. The first one today is Bah Humbug by Gary Poulton. The reason I'm starting on this one is because this is one of the ones I've got two of. So I can start now. I'll probably have yours, Gary, again in a couple of weeks. Gary's got a black IPA, 5.3%, Maris, Otter, Chocolate and Black Prince for the malts, Polo, Citra and Amarillo for the hops. Yes, yeast is US05, and you've got a funky little label there, 5.3%. Bit of a chill on the outside of the bottle, can't really see much going on. It's very black. I'll get on with doing some pouring. Nice little hiss, not too much foam coming up inside the bottle. Lovely little hop aroma coming out there. With some juicy caramel after the initial hop zests out of the way. And now there's nothing left because I've sniffed it all. Been a bit eager there. Might save it. I have. Don't know what you can see of that. Maybe a touch hazy. Maybe a touch hazy. Fantastic looking head though, look at that, that's brilliant. Off-white, slight cream to it. Getting some lovely caramel, sort of toffee notes through the head. Or like chocolate Mars bars almost. That smells fantastic, mate. If this tastes half as good as it smells, it's going to be an absolute winner, this. I'm just going to have to get to the drink first. Oh, cracker. Absolutely cracking. Just enough roast. Tiny little edge of the burnt grain coming through right at the last end of the palate. Yeah, some lingering toffee notes, but it's only really subtle. There's a lovely light, juicy hoppiness coming through at the very beginning. Kind of subdued, but lingering bitterness. Lovely, mellow, very mellow chocolate undertones going through the whole thing. On the second swig, actually, there's a bit more bitterness coming through now. Quite a lot across the whole of the tongue. Maybe a little bit too much. That said, it's a cracking beer, mate. On that note, I'm not going to say much. Just going to keep it to a couple of minutes for each one. This is a very good beer. Slanchivar. Back again. Beer number 2 of the BBOC 2020. This tipple is Sleigh Oil. Thanks very much, Taff. Contents, we've got pale malt, amber malt, crystal malt, chocolate malt, roasted barley, some torrefied wheat in there, and some lactose, equinox and fuggles in the hop. Nottingham yeast, 23 IBUs, 5%, and then some colour index, but I'm not quite sure what that says. Cream stout, looking forward to it, mate. If I can open the bottle. Very light hiss. Definitely some carbonation in there. Doesn't smell sweet on the nose. It smells dark. It smells roasty. Smells like I need to get it in the glass. Doing my best to try and get it to head up. Doesn't want to go. Yeah, a little bit of yeasty stuff in the bottom of the glass, so I'll stop there. Bottom of the bottle rather. Looks nice in the glass. Very dark indeed. Not giving much away on the nose, maybe licorice actually. A little alcoholic edge is the first thing to come through, closely followed by licorice, definitely. Yeah, the licorice is backed up by the IBU count, I think. And the lactose is there, but it's not like it's some lactose, which is good. It's lovely and balanced. You're not drinking it, tasting it, thinking this is really sweet. And obviously you don't want it to be really sweet, but there's a sweetness there which is kind of subdued. I'm not sure if that was what you were aiming for, Taff, but that's the way I'm perceiving it. Like the sweetness that I wanted in mine was to really back up the body and to round it off. I needed it there to kind of complete the flavour, and I think you've done that with this. Just looking in the top to try and see if there's any sort of oils or anything in the top of the glass. Maybe a tiny little bit. So there's some oils in there from somewhere. Maybe that's why the head's being resisted. There's definitely enough carbonation there. You wouldn't want it to be too much more than that rather. Certainly in the top of mine, the Imperial Tonics. If you look in the top of that, you can see some colours in there. It looks like there's definitely some oils. I think that's residual oil from the cacao nibs. There's not a huge amount there, although it's definitely carbonated. You can see them all rising, fine little bubbles. And that's about me for that. Very pleasant brew, mate. Thank you very much for taking part. It's a pleasure. One of the good things I enjoy about this is drinking beers from people that I've never really talked to before. Having the pleasure to sup some beers. Usually you've got to try and wangle onto people's good sides and promise them all sorts of things and then end up sending them a bottle of shite and you get typically good beer back. So thanks very much, mate. Yeah, so final thoughts on the Sleigh Oil by Taff Griffiths. Good beer. Very much enjoyed it. There's a pleasant nose that I can't really describe. Maybe it's the brown malt. I'm not sure. It's nice. It's very stouty without leaning too much towards the creamy end of a cream stout, which I enjoy. It's nice. It's a nice change. On a positive note, though, the missus says she liked it mainly because it's wet, cold, and sparkling. So that's what you should have in a beer. Winner.